Yo, what's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go content. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Go Fests, all of them this year, 2024 Go Fest, all 3 in-person events, and we're going to be taking a look at Global, break down all the PvP stuff that you're going to be needing to take a look at if you're a newer player looking to expand your PvP roster, or if you're a seasoned older player who is looking to continue their grind for XL candy or maybe look for something new. And also we're going to talk about Necrozma Fusion, how that works in the video. I'm going to do my best to put some video chapters in here so you can skip ahead if you want to go ahead and skip any of the Go Fest in-persons that you're not going to. But first, we're going to talk about Japan, which is going to be May 30th through the June 2nd here, through June 2nd. We're going to talk about Fusion in a little bit. The first thing that's going to be the same across all the Go Fest is you're going to get the Marshadow research. It's going to be just like the Diancie research we got last year and all the other, mythical researches we're going to get. That's going to be in the in-person and the global as well. So even if you don't go to an in-person event, you can still get Marshadow in the global event. I believe it's with the paid ticket. And then I'm sure at some point they'll give us a free Marshadow, like, over, 8 months later, like they did with Diancie. But, one thing to note, if you go to multiple Go Fest events and you get multiple researches, you're only going to get one Marshadow no matter how many researches you do. You're just going to get extra candies for the Marshadow instead for extra ones. Let's take a look at the Japan Go Fest spawns in the Mountain Brook habitat. And again, these in-person events, they're going to have habitats that are set in specific zones of the parks that you're going to be in. So there's going to be those plus some incense spawns, things like that. But unlike Global, where the habitats rotate on the hour, you're going to be able to go to a specific place in the park. So Poliwag is going to be a big one here. Poliwrath is very, very meta in Ultra League and Great League as well. Lapras is kind of like a spice pick, but who doesn't want some drip Lapras? I mean, let's be honest here. If Eevee can evolve into Umbreon or any of its other forms, it's a solid pickup. Umbreon's good in the Great League, and Sylveon's solid as well. Dratini, Dragonite's good in every league. Dragonair is going to be good in the Great League. Totodile recently for Alligator got Shadow Claw, so now that alongside Hydro Cannon, for Alligator is an extremely meta Pokemon now. So one for all 3 leagues, and Shadow is not required, so even if you get a regular good Totodile from the event, still worth hanging on to and building. Dwebel's going to be, Crustl's good in some limited formats, but not amazing by any stretch. Tyrunt, Carbink is going to be one of the ones to focus on. If you were able to get a good Carbink, you want to get around, it's about 5-15. 15 is about the good rank one you want to look for. And Carbink XLs are, you get them in GBL, but you can still get a good chance to get them, evolve a rock type or something, Mega evolve a rock type rather, and catch those Carbinks and get those XLs. Dewpider is good-ish in little cups, and then Araquanid has fallen far out of the meta at this point, but it's still worth having on your roster just in case it gets good one day. In the Sky Arena habitat, Pidgey and getting those XLs for Pidgeot for the Ultra League is going to be good. Pidgeot is fairly decent, but Shadow seems to be the new hotness anymore. A Kanto Farfetch'd is certainly spicy and something that I'm going to actually look to get myself because I don't have one, because it's a regional, so a good chance. I would say that Farfetch'd is probably not going to... I say I'm going to get it myself. This is Japan. I'm not going to Japan. If it's in Global, I will, but anyway, disregard that. I'm a fool. Anyway, I do all these videos in one take, so if you don't like the uncut me, then skip ahead to the next segment. Anyway, Doduo, Ponyta, Eevee with a Sun Crown, same thing. Hitmontop, it's not really relevant. Metatite is there if you want to build yourself a Metacham. Unfortunately, Metacham is a little bit far out of the meta, but there's always a chance it could come back or be good in limited format, so it's always worth it to have that XL Metacham on your roster. Emolga, another one of those things that's good in limited cups, not so great in open, but still worth a stash, and then the rest are pretty much, irrelevant here. In the Star Parade, you're going to get extra Stardust from catching Staryu. There's going to be Frillish, both kinds, male and female, pink and blue. There's no statistical difference. It's all just going to be the gender. That's all it is. So it doesn't matter what color you get, what gender you get. It's all the same Pokemon. But both forms of Frillish, regardless, are still going to be worth having because... And again, you just get one for Great League, one for Ultra League. You don't have to have like one of each color, just one for Great, one for Ultra, and you're set. Joltik, good. Galvantula is pretty okay. It's kind of spicy in the Ultra League, and in the Great League, it has its uses. Poncham, as much as I love Pangoro, it's not that great, but it still may be worth grabbing a good IV one because, for the most part, they're really only limited to the 12-kilometer eggs. Furfrou, now that it has Sand Attack, actually is an interesting, spice pick in the Great League now. Amora, if you don't have a good XL Amora, which not many people will, but if you don't have an Aurorus, that'd be something I would definitely be focusing on Amora for. And Zhangmao being in this is a wild spawn. It's the first time it's going to be shiny as well, so that's going to be something that you want to be hunting for, and honestly, you're going to be hunting for it if you're going for it shiny anyway. In the Lake Garden, we're going to have Meryl, which Azumarill is good in Great League. Meryl's going to be good in Little Cup. Lotad, I know Yonkis just did a video not too long ago about things that are like one move away from being meta, and Ludicolo was on that list, so I would definitely look to grab a Lotad here. A good rank Roselia as well, because you want to have Roserade for a great and Ultra League, well, I would say mostly Great League formats. Sometimes it's pretty good. Cherim, unfortunately, not that great anymore. And Flabebe, you're going to get the regional version of whatever Flabebe it is that you're in the region for. So in Japan, you're going to get the orange one. And it's still good to have for Master League. If you can somehow snag a hundo or close to it. And then Lurantis, coming from Fomantis, is going to be solid in some Great League Cups, right? It's just something that's kind of nice to have on the roster. And in all habitats, you're going to get the unknowns, and Klefki is going to be in here. Now, Klefki is not amazing for PvP, but ever since Tackle got buffed, I believe it has Tackle. It's a spice pick, okay? Some other features, you're going to have collection challenges, research, and snapshot surprises. I do believe Heat Rotom. Okay, that Heat Rotom is going to be your snapshot surprise for GoFest in Japan. So that's going to be worth maxing out on your snapshot surprises, because I don't know if we've even had Heat Rotom yet. Going through the next section here, this is all about the city experience. Again, it's going to be the Pokemon appearing in the wild. You're basically, all Pokemon from those habitats that we just talked about are going to be widespread throughout the city experience. So instead of being in certain habitats, they'll just be all over, mixed up in any place they can find. Now, for 5-star raids, we don't have any news on the 3 or 1-star raids. And just, Niantic, listen to me. Listen, heart to heart, please. Give us Cosmog raids. Give us the Cosmog raids, please. Just do it. Just give us the Cosmog raids. I don't care how. Just do it, please. Anyway, Nihilego, Xurkitree, Kartana, Guzzlord, and Necrozma are going to be your 5-star raids for Japan Go Fest. And obviously, all that hype is going to be around Necrozma. But Guzzlord is another one that's going to be worth, if you don't have it on your roster yet. Guzzlord, get a bunch of Guzzlords and look to mirror trade them with somebody. You can get a Guzzlord under Great League if your friendship is low enough. You have a better chance. I think you can still do it with best friends, but it's very, very low chance. Kind of like Tapu Fini and Cresselia. So if you can swap somebody with a Guzzlord and try to get one under 1500, and then also get a good rank one for Ultra League, Guzzlord is super, super solid in both those metas. Necrozma, we're going to check out the fusions in a little bit. I'm not going to be able to do a deep dive on the fusions, but I will go over kind of how the mechanic works. There's going to be some bonuses in the Japan Go Fest here, and I'm pretty sure these are the same bonuses. These are the blanket bonuses without the raid or hatch add-ons, which if you want to enhance, it's an extra cost, of course, because it's Niantic, right? But you're going to be able to get additional candies and XP from raids if you get the raid add-on. And that's what I used when I went back into New York last year. It was an amazing add-on. If you're going to get one add-on, get the raid add-on, honestly. And the hatch, if you're doing a lot of egg hatching, it's good dust and it's good, hatch candies, but it's going to depend on the actual hatch pools as well. But half incubator distance, 2-hour modules, 7-kilometer egg pools, 6 special trades per day when you have a ticket. So only for the days you have a ticket. So if you get the city experience for the days that you're not in the park, you'll get 6 special trades during that day, but only on the days you've purchased the ticket for. There's reduced cost for trades, usually a 50% decrease. 9 additional raid passes, 2 times catch candy, 1.5 times hatch candy, and 1.5 times hatch stardust. They're going to talk about tickets here, and that's going to be the end of the Japan. So we're going to do a little, just so I can go find it, easy little transition here. And now we're going to talk about Madrid, which is going to be in the middle of June, the 14th through the 16th. The event bonuses and the featured raids are pretty much going to be similar, but we're going to go through the slight differences here. Once again, Marshadow, we talked about it already. Now we're going to talk about the spawns. This is going to be, you notice there's different habitat names, so it's a completely different spawn pool. So we're going to actually take a look at this. Now, I was a fool, okay? I recorded this. This is my second time recording this video because I assumed that Japan had the same spawns as the rest of them, and I made a mistake, and someone called me on it, thankfully, before it hit the public. But Hisuian Electrode is a good spice pick and decent core breaker in the Great League, so it's worth grabbing a good rank one for the Great League. Lickitung, Hey, if you don't know that Lickitung's meta in the Great League, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be one of the hottest pickups you can find. Usually about 8, 15, 15 is the high rank or so for Lickitung. So you also want them XLs. You're going to want to get 296 XLs to max out that high rank Lickitung. Natu, useless. Baltoy, useless. Beldum, Metagross is a good raid attacker. It's also going to be very good in the Master Premier and sometimes even Open Master League. Nothing else on this list stands out to me except for Ferroseed, which is a very solid Pokemon that we've seen in the Great League Remix recently, as well as some other metas like Spring Cup where it was allowed, where it actually did very well. So it's a very good pickup, and it's also able to XL into the Ultra League if you can get enough XLs for it. That's the Mysterious Labyrinth. Let's talk about the Rocky Shore, where we're going to see Lapras come back, Chinchou. So if you don't have a good Great League Lantern, excellent opportunity to try and get one of those, as Lantern is one of the top meta Pokemon, at least right now in the Great League. Of course, I'm going to say that, and they'll have like nerfed Spark or something, because I'm recording this and before I go on vacation, which is about, I would say, you know, a week or so, a week and a half or so before you're going to see this video. So I'm sure that the news is going to make me look like a bozo, but Chinchou also XL in the Great League, so, you know, both of those, and even Lantern XL in the Ultra League. So, you know, ideally, if you're going full throttle on Chinchou, you want 296 XL for the Chinchou for Great League, and then 296 XL for the Lantern if you're really grinding off that Lantern, and then you want to get a good rank Lantern for the Great League, as long as Lantern's still meta by the time you see this video. Now, Nose Pass, so we're going to want to look at Probopass. Good rank in the Great League would be ideal if you don't have one. Good rank Bastion. The Shield line is 0-15-15, I think is the rank 1 Basti for the Great League. Definitely worth a pickup if you don't have one. It's going to also need 296 XLs. Throw, Tortuga, not really relevant. Amora, we've already talked about it from Japan, but if you weren't, you know, if you skipped ahead, get a Aurorus, and if you want to, you can get the XL Amora, but at least get the Aurorus if you don't have one. Dewpider and Zhangmo both worth a pickup, especially Zhangmo being, you know, one of those shinies that you're going to be hunting for anyway. Good rank. Hakumo for the Great League, and then Como in all 3 leagues if you can. And Dewpider, you want to get that Araquanid, but also Dewpider's pretty solid in the Little Cups as well if you play those. Let's take a look at the Cursed Forest. If there's not a Phantom in this Cursed Forest, I'm gonna riot. Okay, good, there's Phantom. And Phantom is a beautiful shiny, by the way. So, Zubat, you know, Golbat is a very solid anti-meta sort of, you know, fringe, you know, limited cup kind of Pokemon. Sableye is a big one. Now, Mega Sableye, especially for you Battle Frontier players, if you know, you know. And also getting the XLs to be able to get a Purified or Shadow Sableye. And if you haven't built your Sableye yet, any Sableye at all, focus first on a good return Purified Sableye, and then after you have the Purified Sableye, go for the Shadow. The Shadow is just strictly an upgrade over the normal, and in my opinion, if you build a regular Sableye without return or Shadow, in my opinion, it's just the most inferior version of Sableye. Now, that's not to say it's a bad build if you've already built one, but if you haven't built one yet, I would avoid building a regular Sableye if you can. Anyway, Dino, you're going to have Hydreigon in the Master League being some spice, but Zweilous in the Great League also very good in a lot of limited formats. We're going to see the return of Flabebe and Pancham in this one, and we're also going to see Phantump, which Trevenant is a fantastic Great and Ultra League Pokemon. Ultra League, you need some XLs, but Great League, you want to get a good one. It's going to be good in both metas. I would definitely recommend grabbing a good Phantump, and if you get a shiny Phantump, ooh, beautiful shiny. It really is. Let's take a look at the Sunrise Gateway, where you are going to see Skarmory. So Skarmory, if you don't already know, a staple, hard, top meta pick in the Great League unless they nerf it somehow in this coming season, which I don't think they will. So get a good rank Skarmory. It's definitely worth it. Also, if you want to, a hundo Skarmory XLs into the Ultra League fairly well. Bronzor, hey, if they bring back Little Catch Cup again, you know, good. Get that Bronzor, baby. Fletchling Talonflame is going to be a good, hot, fire type, right? Hot, dad jokes. Fire type, good meta in the Great and Ultra League. You want to get a hundo for the Ultra League, and you're going to want to get a good rank, you know, low attack and high attack and defense. That's going to be the good rank in the Great League. Now, again, we talked about Furfro. You know, it's good if you get one, but it's certainly not necessary. It's kind of spicy. Helioptile, again, a limited meta pick or just a spice pick in the Ultra League, or especially. I say the Great League is okay, but it's very squishy. And Carbink is a super, XL intensive, difficult thing to build. But if you can, a 5-15-15 or so will be perfect for this Carbink. You're going to want to get one for PvP, whether it's for catch up or not. Just something to have on your roster, because when it pops off, boy, does it pop off. And in the all habitats, Madrid is also going to get Klefki as well as the unknowns. We're also getting collection challenges. The Go Snapshot is Heat Rotom as well in Madrid, and research tasks. Now, it's worth noting that you will get research tasks for, I believe it's in the special research for the Fusion Energy for Necrozma, but we'll talk about that when we get to the end when we talk about Fusion. So in this, in Madrid, you're going to have Nihilego, Pheromosa instead of Xurkitree. You're going to have Kartana, Guzzlord, and Necrozma. Now, again, if you skipped ahead, and if you didn't watch the previous section with Japan, get a good Ultra League and Great League Guzzlord via trade. If you trade Guzzlord with a low friendship, you can get a Guzzlord under 1500. It's solid, and IVs don't matter super much with that, but you're going to want to try to get one because Guzzlord is a really good pick in the Great and Ultra League a lot of times. I've played it in quite a few different variations of the Great and Ultra League, and it's always been super solid to have. And then Necrozma obviously is the new hotness. Everyone's going to be wanting to raid for that. The bonuses are the same as they are going to be in Japan, so I'll let you read them off the screen here instead of listing them all off again, just to try and save my jaw a little bit. All the talking gets to me after a while. But anyway, down here to the ticket section, so we're going to do another... And get over to New York, which is going to be July 5th through the 7th, my daughter's birthday, actually. So I won't be in New York. I would like to go, but you know what? As a dad, I know that I have my priorities. I am not going to miss my daughter's birthday for a Go Fest, sorry. But it's okay because I'll get to play Global. It's going to be a great time. Anyway, so what does this do? Oh, cool. All right, anyway. I actually have never clicked on these arrows before, so I'm trying... We learn on the fly. So once again, Mars Shadow research, awesome. And again, with the Mars Shadow research, if you were to get multiple different Mars Shadow researches, you cannot stack them. You're only going to get one Mars Shadow. You can stack the researches, you're only getting one Mars Shadow, and everything after that's just going to be candy. So New York, we're going to have the Brilliant Skies. That's going to have Pidgey. Again, that's going to be a good XL Pidgeot hundo for the Ultra League, or just good low attack, high defense, and HP for the Great League. We're going to be looking at Dratini. Again, Dragonite's good in all three leagues, and Dragonair is good in the Great League. Skarmory, as we talked about in Madrid, is going to be a super hot Pokemon to make sure you get a good one if you don't have one already. Good Great League, high rank you're going to want. And also, if you can, you get a hundo, get the XLs, get the Ultra League Skarmory going. Rufflet is like spice, honestly. Like XL Rufflet is okay in some limited metas, especially. Furfro, as we talked about in both of the other GoFest regions, we are going to be seeing it as a sort of spice pick. It's good-ish with Sand Attack, but it's just not really like meta. It's just, if you get a good one, good. And Zhangmo, everybody's going to be going after this as the new shiny in GoFest. So if you get a good rank, Hakumo and Komao for Hakumo for the Great League, Komao for all three leagues, super solid pickup. The Ghostly Woods habitat is going to have Gligar, big one is Gligar. You want to make sure that if you don't already have a good rank Gligar, that you get one. Gligar is top meta in the Great League, and I don't really see it changing anytime soon. And honestly, Gliscor also in the Ultra League, and sometimes even in the Great League does pretty well. So good to get those, and I know that Shadows are typically going to be a much better version of Gligar if you can get the Shadows, and those are going to be in Flying Grunts, at least right now. They're in rotation in the female Flying Grunts if you can get them. But still, base form, regular Gligar is still solid, so worth picking up if you can. Flabebe, again, hundo or close to it for Master League if you can, Master Premier Cup specifically. Phantom, good in the Ultra League and the Great League. And Oranguru is good in some limited Great League formats, and also doesn't do too bad in the Ultra League as a spice pick. Same with Golett, you want to get that as a spice pick in the Great League mostly, but again, it's not much more than spice. And even Alolan Rattata, if you get a good one. The Purified Alolan Rattata is going to be the primary, the ideal one you can get. I wouldn't really focus too much on getting a regular Alolan Rattata, but if you want to get some XLs for your Alolan Raticate, Purified, that'd be solid. Just because Return is so much better on Alolan Raticate than any other move that it has, aside from Crunch, so. Poolside Cabana, that's a good name. So we've got the return of Chinchou in this one. So Chinchou, right? XL Chinchou for the Great League is like the lowest priority. Great League Lantern is the highest priority, and I would say that Ultra League Lantern is the middle priority. So if you can, you obviously want to get away with all three, but as long as they haven't nerfed Lantern, again, we're pre-recording this before we get the next season news. So if they nerf Spark into the ground, then you can completely, forget about Jinchao and Lantern. But as of right now, it's top meta in the Great League, and it's a spice pick in the Ultra League, but it certainly can core break some teams. Mantine, a big one. Highest rank you can possibly get, and if you also can Hundo Mantine in the Ultra League, kind of slaps, not gonna lie, it's not too bad. Frillish is apparently only the female, although I'm assuming they're probably also going to have the male Frillish as well. But again, color doesn't matter on the Frillish. It's the same Pokemon, just a different gender, same stats, same moves, same everything. But getting a good rank Frillish or Jellicent, I should say, for the Great and Ultra League is going to be a good priority here for this Frillish spawn. Getting to the Rugged Quarry, we're going to see Onix, Steelix, super solid Pokemon in the Great and Ultra League. Even if it's not a Shadow, you still would want to prioritize having Steelix. It's been good in so many different metas over the last few seasons. Fly in front of me here. Just get out of here. Go on. Steelix is super solid in Great and Ultra League. It's absolutely worth picking up and getting the XLs if you don't have them already. Sableye, we talked about already. Getting the XLs to have the Great League Sableye is a very good thing to have. Again, you want a purified Sableye first, then you can get the XLs for the Shadow. But if you can avoid it, don't build just a regular, normal Sableye. You want to go for the purified for that return move, or you want to get a Shadow for that damage output. Regular Sableye is just kind of like an inferior mix of the two, and it doesn't really have the same oomph that Return Sableye or Shadow Sableye have. Beldum, Metagross, good for Master League. You want to be able, also good for raids. Shieldon, Bastiodon is, as much as I loathe the thing, is a meta pick in the Great League. 0, 15, 15 with all those XLs if you can. Drillbur, you're going to want to get an Excadrill for the Master Premier Cup, so if you can get those XLs and a Hundo for the Drillbur, or for the Excadrill. Heatmore, beautiful shiny, not very good in PvP. Dwebble, Crustle can do okay in some limited cups, but it's not amazing anymore, really. Carbink and Amora. So again, Amora the third time. It's been in every single one. Same with Carbink. But you want to get the Aurorus if you can. XL Amora is neat. And then you want to get the XL Carbink. The 5, 15, 15 is that ideal spawn. And if we're going to be in the all habitats, this is going to be Unknowns, and Klefki is going to be in the wild here in GoFest in all regions. Now, we're still getting Heat Rotom and Snapshot Surprise, the first time we've got Rotom Heat, so definitely worth picking that up. And we are going to have, again, the city habitat, the same with all of them. If the Pokemon that are in those habitats, again, those habitats are zones in the park, but when you get out into the city experience, there's just every Pokemon from the habitats will be everywhere, so it'll be a mix of everything. The 5-star raids are going to be Nihilego, Kartana, Guzzlord, Necrozma, and Buzzwole is going to be the regional exclusive for New York. Now, Buzzwole, solid to have in the Ultra League. I don't think you can trade it into the Great League. I don't think. I think it's research only for the Great League. But Guzzlord, I'm going to say it again. For all of you guys who skipped ahead into the New York section and skipped the other two, Guzzlord, if you have a non-weather boosted, you can trade it under 1500 CP. Very worth having for the Great League. And also, if you get a good IV one while trading for the Great League spread and you get a good Ultra League spread, absolutely worth having for the Ultra League as well. And Necrozma is that new hotness, which we'll talk about in just a bit, talking about that fusion. And we're going to see the same bonuses. Again, I'm going to put them on the screen here, let you all read them if you want to pause it, but we're not going to read them off here at the expense of my jaw here. So we're going to see the tickets. So now we're going to go into the global. So another transition, like maybe now. All right, so we got Global Go Fest. This is going to be July 13th and 14th. This is going to be the big end event where we're going to see everybody around the world, no matter where you want to play, you can play this event. We are going to have 2 days. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday, July 13th and 14th. And you're going to be able to get the Marshadow, again, from the event ticket. So you go to the web store or the in-game store and get the GoFest ticket, you can get the Marshadow research. If you don't get the ticket, you're not going to get the Marshadow research, and you're going to have to wait 8 months, 9 months from now to be able to get it whenever they release it for free. So if you want Marshadow, it's going to be pretty decent. in the Master League, and it's got the same typings as Annihilate, but a lot more different move coverage options. I think that Master League is going to be where it's going to shine the most, but I know it's an XL, you know, rare XL dump for, you know, those of you who, like, you know, are working on your Zygardes and things. I know it's another XL dump, but it's still, that's where I think it's going to shine the brightest, if anything. Fusion's coming to Pokemon Go, so we can take a moment to talk about the Fusion here. And what Fusion essentially is going to do is we're going to be able to take Necrozma and fuse it to an existing Solgaleo or Lunala and get Duskmane or Dawn Wings. And what that basically is going to allow us to do is get these two forms of Necrozma. So the way that fusions work, from essentially what we've learned from other creators and people who are in the know, right? So the first thing is it's going to require the lunar or solar fusion energy, depending on what you want to use it for. You're going to require yourself a Necrozma, the particular form, either Solgaleo or Lunala. You're going to need 30 Necrozma candy, 30 Cosmog candy, and 1,000 energy of whatever form you're trying to fuse. So you will be able to get this energy from the in-person events research. You're not going to be able to raid for it. You're only going to get base form Necrozma, but that's a good opportunity to get a ton of XL candy for Necrozma, because, and it's going to make a lot more sense here in a minute. On the second day of GoFest Global, right, Global GoFest Day 1 is going to have the Necrozma regular. On the second day, we're going to have the Duskmane and Dawn Wings raids, where you're going to be able to catch a base form Necrozma from that raid, but also get rewarded with Cosmog Candy and the Lunar or Solar Energy, depending on the raid that you've beaten. Now, the nice thing about the Fusion is two things. First, there's no time limit. You can just do the fusion and it stays that way until you go in and you remove the fusion status and separate them back out. And the other thing is the fusion will assume all of Necrozma's stats and it's shiny and everything. So if you, let's say you have a Hundo level 50 maxed out Necrozma and a Dank IV level 20 Solgaleo, okay? If you fuse these two, you are going to have a Hundo level 50 maxed out, because it assumes Necrozma's IVs and its stats and everything. If it's shiny Necrozma, you'll get a shiny Dawn, or is it Duskmane Dawn? Whatever it is we're fusing. At this point, they're already the same in my head at this point because of the names. But you're getting the fusion that you've created, but it's getting all the stats and everything from Necrozma. So rating for the good Necrozma and just saying, I have a Solgaleo and I have a Lunala is good enough. You don't have to have a good Lunala or a good Solgaleo. You don't have to power them up or anything, which is kind of nice because we're getting limited access to Cosmog. So I'm hoping they give us raids or something to get more candy for Cosmog, because people want to use the two regular forms at some point. But that's how Fusion's going to work, basically. And they're going to have their special moves, Moongeist Beam, and whatever the one that, whatever Duskmane learns. I don't remember the name of the move, but they're going to have their own adventure effects. There's like a night and day incense effect that is also going to cost you resources, just like the Roar of Time and Spatial Rend. And that move is assumed during the fusion, so it's not like you're going to have to raid for one with the move and one without, like we did during Sinnoh Tour, which Niantic, please don't ever do that again. It was the worst decision you could have possibly made. Goodness, that was awful. Anyway, me not, you know, being mad not having a Dialga origin that has Roar or anything like that. But you don't have to raid for a specific one. You just have to fuse and you automatically get that special move. So we've already talked about the research, the raid rewards, and that's how you're going to be able to grind for that energy. So we're going to go back to the GoFest Global and take a look at the spawns that we're going to get. Again, these are going to be rotating spawns hourly. You're going to go through 4-hour chunks of getting one and then the other and then the next and then the next. Then we're going to recycle back to the first one. And for the next 4 hours, we're going to do it again. Again, talking about Pidgey, Hundo in the Ultra League, and good rank in the Great League. Hoot Hoot. I mean, Noctowl has kind of fallen out ever since they nerfed Sky Attack, but, you know, Noctowl could still be solid in limited metas. So, you know, same thing with Hoppip to get a Jump Pluff. Also, it has that Legacy move. I think the Legacy move is, if I'm not mistaken, it's Acrobatics, I think, is its Legacy move. Giraffariga's Spice, definitely not a bad pickup, though, if you get a good one. Pelipper from Wingull, that's going to be a good Great League pickup in a lot of limited formats where Lantern doesn't exist. So, hey, if they nerf Lantern, Pelipper's great again. I'm just saying. Snivy, Superior. Y'all know I love Superior. Get a Great League Superior is super great. I love that thing so much. Whimsicott from Cottony. You get a good Great League if you get the Hundo XL. You know, you can get some XLs for Whimsicott. Get that in the Ultra League. Pharaoh Seed, good Great League. XL in the Ultra League, good to pick up. Haxorus, unfortunately, now that Breaking Swipe has been nerfed down to 50%, it has kind of fallen from grace a little bit, but Haxorus is still solid in all three formats. If you can pick up a good one, it might be good again someday. Galarian Stunfisk, again, another thing a little bit past its time, but in some limited formats in the Great and Ultra League, it's super solid. Malamar, also a limited format thing in the Great and Ultra League, but still not a bad pickup if you can get a good one. Shining Day habitat, that's going to be Charmander with that Charizard. You're going to want Charizard in at least the Great and Ultra League. You know, Shadows are nice, but if you don't have them, that's okay. Regular ones are super fine. Dratini, again, we've already mentioned in the 3 regional Go Fest, but the Dragonite's good in all 3 leagues, and Dragonair's solid in the Great League. Dunsparce is a great pickup for the Great League, and if you want to prepare, eventually they're going to have to release Dunsparce, the evolution from Paldea. So at some point they're going to have to release it. Would be good, you know, get ahead of that if you get a good one. I think the rank checkers actually have Dunsparce in there already. Hisuian Sneasel, you get a Sneasler. You can get that in the Wild in the Great League. Super solid, fun Glass Cannon Spice pick. Helioptile, if you get a Heliolisk in the Great and Ultra League, super solid. Sort of a spice, honestly, but it's still, you know, sometimes it has a good time in the meta. It's good. Dedenne is going to be a solid, like, sort of core breaker in the Great League. It's worth a pickup if you have one, or if you don't have one. Lurantis, going to be okay as a limited cup pick, and sort of kind of okay in the Great League. And then Jongmo, again, that's the shiny everybody's hunting for, and we're going to be looking to pick up a good rank Hakamo in the Great League and good Komao in any of the 3 leagues. The Creeping Dust habitat, that is going to have pretty much not that much. So Ariados is one of my favorite Pokemon to run in PvP. It's kind of bad in most formats, but if you don't have one yet, Ariados is sometimes good in some metas, so worth stashing for someday. Emolga, same thing, limited cup sort of thing. You saw it was doing pretty good in the Great League Remix. Good to stash one. Golurk in the Great League, and even somewhat in the Ultra League is an interesting limited cup king here. And then Phantump, you're going to want to get the Trevenant in the Great and Ultra League, and then Charge-a-Bug from Grubbin for the Great League. Darkest Night is going to have the Gligar we've already talked about, getting a good rank Gligar, Gliscor for the Ultra League as well. Mudkip is going to be that Swampert, and you could even do a Marshtomp if you want to in those metas where Swampert's banned, but Swampert's solid in all 3 leagues. Hydro Cannon, Mudshot is just an oppressive move combination. Dino, you want to grab a Zweilous in the Great League, and a Hydreigon would be super cool to have in the Master League for Premier Cup, but it's really kind of a hit and miss Pokemon. It's really mostly Spice. And then as we've mentioned, in all 3 of the regionals, getting an Amora XL would be okay, but you really want to focus on getting an Aurorus for the Great and Ultra League if you can. And then Carbink, you want to grab that Great League XL Carbink. 5/15/15 is going to be that ideal rank. And then Morlo is going to get you some extra dust when you catch it. Teddy Ursa, also something that I completely, skipped past. Ursaluna in the Master Premier Cup, and even in Master League in general, is super, super solid, and is just one good move update away from being an absolute top contender. And I realize that everything's a little bit cut off, so hopefully it hasn't done any of that since we started. But in the 1-star raids, Jongmo is going to be in the 1-star raids for global. 3-star raids, only Espeon and Umbreon. Again, Niantic, please. Jeez, just listen to me, please. I'm begging you. Cosmog raids. You can do it. Just put them in. It's definitely not going to hurt you any. I promise. It's worth it. Anyway, 5-star raids. We're going to have access to all of the regionals. I am assuming that they're probably going to have Buzzwole, Pheromosa, and Xurkitree, Celesteela. Those are all going to be in their own respective regions, most likely. But we can remote raid them. And just like almost all these events nowadays, they just uncap remote raids at some, for global events anyway. So Necrozma going to be that hotness again. On day 2, we're going to get Duskmane and Dawn Wings raids to be able to grind the resources for Fusion. Necrozma on its own is super solid, but I don't think it's going to have the stats to really contend with things. But it has a decent moveset. It's got like Shadow Claw and a bunch of other decent charge moves, and for what it's worth, also the fusions will assume Necrozma's move set, so they'll also have their special move, but they'll also have access to Necrozma's move set instead of their own. And then there'll be, you know, whatever add-ons and things. But Sunday, so all of the, on the second day, all of the spawns from the day one, you know, individual habitats, it's just going to be all day mix of everything. So there's not going to be rolling habitats. It's just going to be, it's going to be focusing on those raids. So it seems like day one is going to be, you know, go do the catches, maybe get some Necrozma raids in there. And then day two, they really, you know, you really want to hit those raids hard. So I would focus on getting your research done, like for Marshadow on day one, and then just really hit the raids hard as you can on day two to get those resources and those Necrozmas. But the bonuses are a little bit less amazing for the Global Go Fest, as of course they want to drive in person, but 1 hour lures as opposed to 2. And then they're not giving us who is going to appear in the surprise snapshot. So Heat Rotom may very well be only in the in-person Go Fest. And then they're going to have research about the different habitats and ticket holders. So again, Saturday, you're going to get the Marshadow research, and Sunday, you're going to get additional research focused on Necrozma. So for all we know, because of Duskmane and Dawnwings, this could result in an extra Cosmog. So if this is worth it to you, maybe worth buying that ticket. There's going to be global challenges, of course. There's going to be some ultra unlocks, it sounds like, as well. Incense encounters. There's going to be Maractus in the Dawn Meadow Hour. Shining Day is going to have Corsola. Creeping Dusk will have Rockruff. And Vullaby in the Darkest Night. So some solid pickups here in Vullaby. I don't know if Corsola is any good, but it's one of those spicy things that I kind of want to get my hands on if I can. Maractus is meh, and Rockruff, Lycanroc, once in a while does decent in Go Battle League. The exclusive bonuses for this event, you're going to have increased chance of shiny Pokemon. I say that with quotes because it always seems to be, you know, questionable, honestly, whether it's really an increased chance, but they're supposed to be. You can make up to 6 special trades per day. There's going to be elite collector medals for the collection challenges, 9 free discs, 9 free raid passes. Goodness, you can tell my fatigue is setting in. 9 free raid passes from the discs at gyms. And then you're also going to get a special 7K egg pool and double friendship bonus damage in raids. So if you're doing raids with your friends, you do double damage. And there's going to be even more news at some point. I don't know, but stay tuned, I guess. Excuse me, we are going to see, you know, more news come out, but that's going to do it for GoFest. I'm looking forward to playing the Global. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make any of the in-person events here, but I'm going to be trying to, you know, do remote raids and anything else that I can do in the meantime to try and, you know, get ahead of the curve on the Necrozma stuff. Because if you're going to, and I completely zoned out on how many Necrozmas you could build, so you know, cheers for you who stuck around and tried to, you know, stay to the end of the video here. If you're going to be focusing on Necrozma, I would say ideally, if you can, you know, any raid add-ons, or if you're doing the raid ticket or the raid add-on in person, you know, go hard on the Necrozmas and try to come out with enough XLs and maybe even 3 buildable Necrozmas for Master League, because you're going to want, obviously, 1 of each form, so you're not refusing and defusing to waste those resources. But just in case Necrozma itself is solid in the base form at some point, would be solid to have 1 of those. So that's my closing thoughts for GoFest. I hope y'all have a great GoFest. I know I'm making this video a little early because I want to get it out before Japan starts, and so everybody has a chance to see it for their own region. So I hope that I covered everything. I'm sure I've probably missed or misspoke on a few things, but let me know in the comments if you're going to have plans for GoFest, or if you've already had your GoFest by the time you see it. Let me know in the comments how your GoFest went and if you had any fat dubs for your GoFest experience. I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.